So we got another really good episode of From this week, and thankfully I'm not having to come on here and just rush the episode's defense like I did last week. As if that was something that I had to do every single week, I would just honestly grow tired of it. Now I will say that if you're a frequenter of Reddit, I would avoid the From subreddit, as apparently there's been leaks for the rest of the season on there, and quite a lot of people have gotten spoiled because of that, so definitely avoid the From subreddit if you haven't gotten the season spoiled for you already. Thankfully I've been able to avoid most of the spoilers, but I did get like a minor potential spoiler about like what happened to the kids and what they need to do to get out. And I'm not sure if that's an actual spoiler or not, and I don't really want to look into it. But the point is, I think you guys should definitely stay off the From TikTok and Reddit, as you're probably going to end up getting the rest of the season spoiled for you if you do get on that. So just try to avoid that, or at least be careful. But this episode starts off with Boyd finding out about what Fatima did last episode to Tilly. And he's kind of just in this moment of like, I don't fully know what I want to do, but as of now, I'm going to try to protect her and hide her while we figure out what we're going to do. And I totally understand that point, because to be honest, if I was in that situation, I would probably do the exact same thing. And while someone's definitely going to have to either kill Fatima at this end of the season, or she's just going to die during her pregnancy, I totally empathize with Boyd here for how he's just trying to delay the inevitable, and has a little bit of hope left to like try to buy her some time to hopefully get better. Now, part of me kind of wonders why he didn't just, like, lock her in, like, his police station or something. But then he would have to find somewhere to stay, and then everyone would be questioning him, and someone would possibly end up running into Fatima. So I sort of understand why he did it at the same time. And then Donna ends up making a really good point that because they already have a murderer and Sarah in the town, everyone's going to end up pointing their fingers at Sarah if there's no other suspect. So Boyd and Ellis don't really have much time to figure out what they're going to do or how they're going to save Fatima. As sooner or later, the town is going to come after Sarah and either put her in the box or just flat out murder her out of suspicion for killing Tilly. And then once Donna finds out that it was Fatima that murdered Tilly, I think she does the right thing here by saying that if Boyd and Ellis don't tell the townspeople that it was Fatima and not Sarah, that she's just going to tell them herself. And yeah, because to be honest, I'm pretty sure that if she hadn't like stepped in there, what probably would have happened is that Boyd and Ellis would have tried to stall it for as long as possible, and then the townspeople would come in to murder Sarah instead, and then Boyd and Ellis would have to fess up. So I think honestly it's a really good thing that Donna came in and was just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna tell them. And then I love the scene with Jade, Henry, and Jim in the bar, and I'm pretty sure all of the people out there that hate Jim are gonna love the scene as well, as it was just a scene of Jade insulting Jim and pretty much just putting him in his place, as Jim was over here being like, oh my god, you're just dragging my wife around here. Jay's just like, what, do you think she's 9 years old and she can't think for herself? Like, come on, man.
Filling her head with ideas? What is she, 9?
And I sort of understand some of Jim's concerns, but at the same time, his delivery's been awful. Jim has just been completely dismissive of what Tabitha's been telling him. And honestly, just like what Jade said, he's kind of just been treating her like a child. I think Jim should still be voicing his concerns, but he should still be hearing Tabitha out and not just trying to force his opinion on her. And I'm just glad that in this episode, Jim just kind of got put in his place. And even Victor's dad was just like, dude, you just need to shut up sometimes. And I just think a lot of the season is kind of just shown as to why they got divorced in the first place, other than obviously what happened to Thomas. And there was even a scene early on where Jim was like, oh, hey, Tabitha, it's been happening for a while, but I've been getting phone calls from the fake Thomas. It's like, dude, this is something you should have told her the first time it happened. Like, no wonder you're getting a divorce. Now, I will say the first issue I have with this episode is that the first scene with Tabitha and Jim was kind of unnecessary, as it was just them walking home and then getting inside their house. Now, it's just kind of like, is this scene really necessary? Like, this could have easily been cut. It's not like the scene ruined the episode or anything, but it kind of threw me off a little bit. And then the scene with Victor told us a lot as well. And I am glad that they're making more scenes of Victor telling people everything, since, yeah, I understand that he's gone through trauma and doesn't want to go through it again. But at a certain point, you do kind of have to have him, like, tell people more stuff without just running away. As at a certain point, it would kind of just turn into, like, lazy story writing, where they just want to draw out the story. But thankfully, we do get a lot of progression with this scene, as Victor realizes that Christopher hadn't been talking to Jasper the doll, and that it was actually the boy in white. I do kind of wonder if Christopher just summoned the boy in white and asked him all these things, or if the boy in white was just willing to, like, suddenly appear and tell Christopher all this stuff. As an issue I might have in the future is that I'm a little worried that it's just going to be the boy in white just randomly appears and tells him how to do everything. And I would kind of just be like, if you knew how to, like, get everyone out of here and solve the whole thing this whole time, why wouldn't you just tell everyone in the first place? So I'm hoping it's just a little bit more complicated than summoning the boy in white and asking him how to, like, solve the issue with the town. Then we also learn in the scene that the children, or basically just the Ankui kids, were sacrificed by those that they trusted, which I'm pretty sure was just their parents. But then Victor says that the parents gave them hope before they did this, which is a little confusing. And I will say that this is the part that I potentially got leaked. I'm not really sure if it's a leak or not. I didn't want to look into it. So I'm not going to predict what caused the kids to get sacrificed or anything, as that's the part that I think was leaked or potentially leaked. But thankfully it was just a minor part. It was just why the kids got sacrificed that was potentially spoiled to me. So thankfully it wasn't the overall plot or anything. But moving on to another person, Julie, being the super intelligent woman that she is, decided that it was a great idea to bring her younger brother to the portal of the weird dungeon thing that she was in before. And it's just, you trashed Jim for yelling at Ethan and called him an awful father. Meanwhile, you are putting Ethan in immediate danger here when you literally could have just asked Tabitha to come with you. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And yeah, I get that Jim wasn't going to listen to you or anything, but she still could have easily went off and grabbed Ethan and just tried to find her mother. And honestly, even if it wasn't Tabitha that she had tried to drag along with her, she easily could have just asked any other adult to come with her. And it's instead you just bring your little brother into this, and it's just why would you do that? And I'm glad that they're continuing to make Randall a more likable character, as Randall was doing the right thing here by telling Julie to not go back to that place, as I don't know, I think it would be really shitty of him to encourage this little kid to go right back into danger. And then I was also glad to see Randall apologize to Elgin for what he did to him on the bus. And I think they did it like this on purpose, as it was basically Randall's last chance to apologize to Elgin, as I'm pretty sure they're going to kill him off next week. And I'll get into that in a second, but there was one other thing I wanted to talk about in this scene, which was that there was some really weird time travel stuff going on, and I don't really know the purpose of it, and I'm kind of worried as a lot of shows and movies handle time travel poorly. But if I had to guess, it's probably that someone's gonna have to travel back in time and save the kids from getting murdered or sacrificed. Because other than that, I have no idea why else they would bring in time travel. And then I was wrong about not getting bad vibes from the kimono lady, as in this episode, yeah, the bad vibes were pretty much all over the place. And yeah, the kimono lady pretty much manipulates Elgin into kidnapping Fatima. And at this point, it's pretty obvious to me that the kimono lady is some sort of evil entity. And I did mention in a previous video that it is kind of similar to the Sarah situation. And we know now that the kimono lady was just trying to manipulate Elgin into doing something bad. I just think it was stupid of Elgin to do this without talking to anyone about it. And then he goes on to antagonize and kidnap a murderer. It's just what are you doing, man? I get that this weird magical creature is telling you that she can save everyone, but didn't you think to maybe ask someone what you should do? As in the words of the old wise Dale, that's what a smart person would do.
See, that's what a smart person would do.
But yeah, I'm thinking in the next episode that the evil inside Fatima is probably going to be born and likely kill Elgin and Fatima if Fatima doesn't already die in the pregnancy. And I'm kind of just hoping we don't see some sort of weird scene of Fatima actually giving birth to a monster, as that would just be really uncomfortable. And I'm kind of wondering if we're going to get some sort of weird alien chestburster situation, or if it's still going to be the old natural way. Either way, I don't know. I don't know the best way for them to handle it, but part of me kind of just hopes they cut away as it starts to happen, and then they do another cut and the monster's there already. So something I also saw is that Elgin said that the only place the baby could be born or safe was that weird basement place. And I'm not really sure why, but I guess there was a scene of him with the weird kimono lady in the basement the other episode. But I don't know. I don't really understand it. If the monster wanted to isolate Fatima so the monster could be born with no one else around, she was already isolated, so yeah, I don't really understand the point in kidnapping her to a basement, or why the monster has to be born in the basement. It's not really a big deal to me, but it is something I'm wondering about. And then I also don't know why Elgin was just drawing his own blood. It's quite possible it wasn't really that deep and it was just the show telling us that he's just doing some weird shit. But if that isn't the case, I am just kind of wondering why he did it. Maybe it's to feed the monster after it's born? I'm not really sure though. So overall, I had a few issues with this episode, Julie being stupid, and there's that one kind of awkward scene earlier on in the show. But I think the good outweighs the bad here, And overall, I think I'd give the show a 9 out of 10. I think all in all, it was just a really good episode, and I'm just really excited to see what we get with next week's episode. Be sure to let me know in the comments below how you felt about this episode, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as there aren't that many episodes left, but I do intend on making more of these reviews for the rest of the episodes. And then later on, I do intend on posting like an overall review of the show, probably a video trying to get more people to watch the show, and then just more like a wish list and / or predictions of next season. So I've got about like 4 videos that I intend to post later on that aren't just reviews and analysis of these episodes. But now that the season is close to ending, let me know in the comments below if there's any sort of like movies or TV shows that are coming out soon that you would like to see more videos like this on. As right now, the only thing I can think of is Squid Game Season 2. But other than that, I hope to see you guys next time. Bye for now.